Hello everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about defenses, or rather, the how do you balance setting the right amount of defense with the right amount of offense based on the roster that you have. So what I'll be doing is I'll be going in and setting my defenses at the end of the video. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about how I like to think about my teams from a strategic point standpoint on both defense and offense. We have the setup phase going on right now, so I won't be doing any battles today, but I will just talk briefly through some of the things I like to think about. So I'm going to pause the video briefly and go over to a graphic that I've made. All right. So over here I have a chart where I've mapped out all my full roster, and I have mapped my teams and where I think they stand in terms of defense and offense. So uh, on the y-axis over here, I have the teams at the top are really strong on offense, and teams below are relatively weaker on offense. And on the left side of the chart are teams which are weaker on defense, and on the right side are teams which are really strong on defense. And you'll see the top right hand corner, these teams over here, the CLS, Revan, Night Sisters teams, these are ones which are both strong on offense and defense. So you can go either way with them depending on your comfort level. So what I like to do is between Revan and CLS, I like to keep at least one of them on offense and one of them on defense, because both these teams of mine, because I've got Chewie as well as Han with my CLS team, both these teams, Revan and CLS, can take out another Revan on the board. So I like to keep one of them on defense and then the other one on offense, just so that I have at least a balance between a strong offense and defense. Night Sisters are another team, especially under Talzin lead, where they can take almost anything on offense, and I have mine pretty well geared and pretty well modded as well. And they're also pretty high on both offense and defense. So I like to use them most of the time on offense, just because they can take out a lot of troublesome teams, which most of the other meta teams can't handle, and they've got a lot of flexibility. They can, if you've died, a few characters have died, you can always revive them, and you can always get back in the game. So it's always pretty easy to regain control when you're with Night Sisters, even with against high damage teams. Some of the other teams over here that I want to talk about, which are really strong on offense, the two other teams that I have over here are Treya and the Triumvirate, as well as JTR, Jedi Training Ray. Now, these teams are, I haven't really kept them on the strong defense side. I consider them mostly medium defense, just because there's so many counters to them already. I mean, they've been on the arena for more than a year, each of these teams, and there have been a lot of counters developed for them. Treya has got some cheesy magma counters. It's got CLS can counter it pretty well, and even if you've got a slow Treya, even a fast Finn can take care of your Treya and Trio 3 teams. So I don't like to keep my Treya team on defense, but I do consider them one of the strongest offensive teams. They can take out anything on the board, including Revan as well. So that's why I consider them a strong offensive team, and I always keep them on offense, never on defense, just because there are so many cheap counters available to it. Similarly, JTR teams can be taken out pretty easily by Night Sisters and Plague in general, and I like to keep them on offense as well. That is another team which can take out any other meta team on the board. Crew, First Order, Evox, any team that you can think of. Night Sister, the Jedi Training Grade team, is able to take care of it pretty well. With some luck, even Revan teams with the right composition and right speed, even Revan teams can be taken out pretty easily with the Ray team. But I always keep Ray on offense, just like Treya, just because there are too many cheap counters available for that. So you can see over here, there's a pattern which is developing. Everything towards the left side of the board, I prefer to keep on offense, and everything on the right side of the board, and especially the lower right over here, that's what I prefer to keep on defense. So let me talk about some of these other teams on top, then I'll shift over to my defense. Now, on offense, so these are some other teams which are really, really strong on offense, but because they're to the left side of the board, they are extremely easy to take out on defense. Now, Trooper team, Fin team, um, even my own Grievous team. I don't have them very geared, so that's why I have kept them towards the left. And Rex Wampa team. All these are extremely strong on offense. They can take out quite a few teams, like the Trooper team, if they're fast enough. They can take out a Bounty Hunter team or a Night Sister team or an Evox team. And similarly with the Finn team, as long as you outspeed the opponent, there are plenty of teams that you can take out with that. So very high offense value, but they really don't stand a chance on defense. It's pretty easy to counter them. It's better played with the human hands than AI hands. Similarly, my Grievous team, I just have Grievous G12. All the rest of my droids are G8, G9. But that Grievous team can take out a really tough Bastilla team or a First Order team or Bosk. It's got a lot of sustainability and a lot of damage. Same thing with my Rex Wampa team. I've got mass AoE days on there, and Wampa. The longer you stay on board, the more the Wampa develops offense, and he's able to take out some really strong teams with that. So these four teams I always save for offense just because of the flexibility that they give me in terms of taking out a strong team. I almost never keep these four teams on defense. Now, let's go move over to this side of the board where we are talking about strong defense and relatively medium to weak offense. Now, and these are some of the teams that I really like to keep on defense. Bastilla team, they're I usually run them with B Jedi because all my A Jedi are with Revan. So my Bastilla team has got Jedi like Ezra, Hermit Yoda, Anakin, Mace. Not really well developed and not really offensive powerhouses apart from Ezra. That's why I've kept them a little low on the offensive side, but they're a really strong defensive team. They are with every turn they gain bonus tenacity and protection at the beginning of the match. So even if the enemy has gone in and whittled down some of the bonus protection and lost the match, the next time when they come in, they will be at full bonus protection back again. So it's very difficult to whittle this team down, especially if you're running on fumes. Which is why this is a really strong defensive powerhouse, even with Jedi on the team. Similarly, the counter teams that I have here, Kira and Karth, they are a little bit stronger offensively than the Bastila team, but they are also extremely strong on defense just because of the protection regeneration, the just the tanks in the team which can auto taunt and regenerate a lot of health and protection on their own. Those are some of the things which make this particular team an extremely strong defensive team. So both these counter teams, my Kira prepared team as well as my Karth, Kandris, Mission Zalbar and Nest team, both these teams are I always keep on defense, just because of the flexibility that they give me. Two other teams that are quite popular on defense, and people like to use them on defense quite a lot, is Crew and Boss Lead Bounty Hunters. I usually have been keeping them on defense so far, but as I'm getting better and better matchups, which need me to play an efficiency game rather than going in and just clearing the board and hoping that the opponent doesn't clear, with an efficiency game, you need to get as many banners as possible. And these two teams, the Bosk and the crew teams, they are really, really good at ending the match with full protection and full health just because of all the benefits that these two leads give. So I've been leaning more towards keeping these two teams on offense lately, especially the crew team, just because of the flexibility that they offer on offense. I have my crew really fast, so a two-turn stun right at the start of the match allows you a lot of control. So that's how I like to keep this team. I see my opponent and then decide whether I want to keep my bounty hunter or a crew team on offense or defense. The If you have a fast Vader, the EP team is an extremely great counter to a lot of teams as well. Now most of my best Sith are going to be running with the Treya. Scion and Nihilus and Sith Trooper most likely as well. So I'm going to be having my B Sith over here or my Empire team. Most probably even my Thrawn is not going to be here in this team because I like to run him with Treya. So that's the reason I haven't kept this as high on the offense list. But it's a great team because if you've got a fast Vader and you get the turn meter train rolling, you can control and take out a lot of good teams, including some good, strong bounty hunter teams as well, and strong Night Sister teams. So those I tend to keep on offense most of the time as well, but they can, especially if you've got a fast Vader, they can serve well on defense as well. The Evox team I like to keep on offense just because I have a fast Paplu, and if you're able to outspeed the opponent, you can you can you can basically mass daze them and shut down a lot of teams. So those are teams that which I usually keep on offense to take down a weak first order team or a weak Night Sister team or just any slow team. Those are Evox are pretty good to take those kind of teams out. So I usually tend to keep them on defense, on offense, unless I'm sure that my opponent doesn't have strong troopers or something else to counter weak Ewoks. Then in those cases, I sometimes keep them on defense. Otherwise, 80% of the time, I keep my Ewoks on offense. And then there are a few other teams which I use on offense, but I would never keep them on defense. They're all the Rebel teams, just because Rebels have got such an easy counter with the Wampa. They can be one shot with the Wampa or Nest, and that gives your enemy bonus points. So I usually don't want that happening, so I keep them on offense. Especially the Wix team, they've got a lot of burst damage, so they are able to get take care of either clean up a team which has been left over by another team or just one shot a weak cheese team. So these I like to keep on offense for that. So that's an overview of how I like to think about offense and defense. And this particular chart will differ for different rosters. For my specific roster, this is how I feel the chart is laid out. Others who might have stronger Phoenix or stronger Troopers, the those kind of teams might have a stronger case for being kept on defense. But in my specific case, this is how the chart looks like. So now I'm going to go over and set my defense. All right. So we are back at the board. Let me give a quick overview of my opponent first, and then I can go ahead and set defense. So I'm facing X from Rebel Force Endor. He's got a pretty decent roster. Mods are slightly lacking, but if I take a look at his roster, he's got pretty decent bounty hunters, mostly G11, G12. Let's see what the speed is. I don't think the speed is too high, even though he's got a speed set on boss. It's only 204. So decent geared bounty hunters, but not very well modded. Similarly, he's got an Empire team. His trooper team is really, really good, mostly gold, and he's got range trooper at G10 as well, with a Zeta on Veers. So I should probably be wary of keeping Night Sisters or Evox or even weak bounty hunters on defense because he's sure to take them out pretty easily. Stark is fast, second fastest Empire unit, but only 223. So with the bonus that Veers gives, he's going to be 243, reasonably fast. And then he's got his EP team as well. He's got Evox G10, G11, not that strong. Zeta only on Chirpa. First order team is pretty well geared. All gold, four Zetas on them. So if he keeps them on defense, I'm going to be needing something to take them out as well. Not very fast, 189. That's the fastest first order unit, first order officer. His crew is at, his Kylo Ren unmasked is at 175. So pretty slow. The fastest unit is FOO at 210 speed. So I should be able to use my Poe to take it out in case they keep them on defense. And then we have Jedi. So he's got a Jedi Revan team. and Zeta on Bastille as well. So he might be running two different Jedi teams. I should be prepared to take that out on offense. And he's got pretty well geared Night Sisters as well, with double Zeta Talzin as well as a Sarge. No Zeta on Daka, but pretty well geared. He doesn't have Mission and Zalba very well geared, so I don't think he's going to be running his Scoundrel team. But if I take a look at his Rebels, he's got C3PO as well as Chewbacca with a Zeta on each of them. Two Zetas on Luke, so he's got a Rev Encounter team as well. and he's got a Zeta on Jin as well. So I think he can probably field two decent Rebel teams. And he's got a JTR team. Looks like it's built for the raid with a gold Resistance Trooper, BB-8, Scav Ray, and JTR. So, and he's got a Zeta Fin team as well. Scoundrel team is his Kira is weak, no Zeta. So I am not that bothered about his Scoundrel team, especially since his Zalbar and Mission are not geared up. L3 also is not geared up, only gear 8. So that shouldn't be an issue. And his Grievous and Separatist team is also not geared up at all. He does have a one. He does have a couple of decent Sith teams that he can run. He's even got a Zeta Maul and Zeta Palp, so he's got three good Sith leaders. Um, but I think he can probably only field two good Sith teams. All right. So we've taken a quick look at the roster. Characters are good, mods not that good. So I'm not too worried about this matchup. I should be able to handle it pretty well. So what I've decided to do in this roster, in this matchup, is I'm going to go with setting up some experimental teams. What I'm doing is I'm going to go in and set in some teams which are tricky in nature and which are not really the kind of stuff that people are used to seeing. So the one thing that I've noticed in some of my previous Grand Arena matchups is people are afraid of the unknown. And if they face a team which they haven't seen before, which is a different composition, maybe a few people from two, three different factions taken together who have kit synergy but no faction synergy, if it's some team that people are not used to fighting or they're fighting for the first time, they tend to get nervous and they do one of two things. They either tend to go really heavy and overkill it with a really strong meta team just because they want to get the first win, or they underestimate it and go in with a weaker team and end up getting demolished and then have to go back in with a second or third team to clean up, in which case they end up losing points. So, in both these situations, you would be at an advantage because either they waste a really good team or they end up losing banners and points. So, that's why especially if you're faced with a matchup which is equal to you or better to you in terms of mods or zetas or roster, in that case, I would go with this strategy of throwing these wild teams out there and just getting your opponent nervous. And that I think is a much better strategy for a strong opponent. In this case, I have a weak opponent, so I'm not really bothered about that. But I really do want to test some of these experimental teams out and see if they get a hold with this opponent, and then I can get a sense of what works, what doesn't work. And next time when I do face a strong opponent, I'll know which experimental teams are good and working, and I'll go ahead and use them on the strong opponent. So I'm using this particular Grand Arena match as a testing ground to test some of these setups that I have. And there are four main setups that I want to really test today. So those four are what I'm going to keep in the front, two in the top and two in the bottom. And I'm going to start with this specific team. Now this is a team that I've used in, uh, in the first 5v5 Grand Arena. It wasn't attacked because it was kept in the back row, so I really don't know how it will perform on defense. But I have used this in Territory Battles Phase 6 to auto the last phase. And just watching these guys auto it, they've got amazing sustainability and amazing damage. Now, let me talk briefly about how this team works. You've got Kenobi, Lead, Barriss, and Hermit Yoda. These three Jedi's, two of them who have healing. So under Kenobi Lead, we're going to be calling Mass Assist, quite a lot of Mass Assist. There are going to be three main Mass Assists: Kenobi's own Mass Assist, Barriss's heal, Hermit Yoda's heal, which gives a Mass Assist, and the fourth one, which is going to be Hermit Yoda's Master's Training. So there's going to be four Mass Assists just between these three Jedi. In addition, you've got Mission and Zalbar, and every time that a mass assist happens, Mission gets to go twice because A, she gets called once on her own, and B, she gets called again because Zalbar is being called to assist. So each mass assist says Kenobi goes and calls everyone to attack. All buffed allies are going to come and attack the opponent. Mission, if she's buffed, she's going to attack. And because Zalbar is attacking as well, Mission is going to attack a second time. So that's what makes this really, really powerful. It's because you've got a strong offensive Mission who's going to be attacking twice with every mass assist. So I really like this team. Second synergy over here is Kenobi can also give retribution to everyone. So you don't really have to wait for anyone to fall below 100% health for Zalbar to taunt. Kenobi is going to end up giving retribution most likely to Zalbar, and then that's going to get Mission to assist as well. Third synergy is in case someone does go much below 100% health, say the opponent is able to get your GK to maybe 60% health. Both Barris as well as Hermit Yoda have got a health equalization, and what that does is if, say, GK is at 60% health and Hermit Yoda or Barris use the health equalization, that's going to get everyone to below 100% health, and Zalbar immediately starts taunting again, and Mission starts assisting because Zalbar has got retribution. So that's another synergy which is there in this team, and I really like that as well. Plus, Master's Training is going to give additional defense and offense to both Zalbar and Mission as well, which is going to be great. And you've got two cleansers in this team, actually three cleansers: Hermit Yoda, Barris, and um, General Kenobi. So days or any debuffs are not going to stick for long on your Zalbar. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set this as my first team in the front. Let's talk about the second team that I want to set. Now, since I've broken out my Zalbar and Mission from the Karth lead team, I've decided to keep my Candrass under a Zeta lead. Now, this is a dot-based team. You've got three characters who are going to be inflicting a lot of dots, and under Zeta lead, those dots are going to stick. You've got Zeta, Sid, and Candrass. Now, Candrass doesn't have a Zeta, but Sid does have a Zeta, so he has 50% extra potency, and his health pool is huge. He's G12 plus, and I've got both the multi tools on him, so that's an extra 20% potency. So as you know, his health depends on his potency, so he's got a tremendous amount of potency with the full potency set. He's got about 100% potency, plus another 50% from his unique, which gives him 150% potency on top of the 25k health that he has. He's probably going to be close to 60 to 70k health, which is huge. So probably as big as the health that you see on most hefty tanks. And he's got a lot of health steal as well, so he's going to be recovering health pretty fast. So you've got three dot damage dealers. You've got a pre-taunter, Sith Trooper, and you've got another ally who shocks, stuns, and is a Sith as well. So that's the synergy where you've got four Sith on the team. So they give extra speed to Vader at the beginning of the match. And they also assist, help in giving defense, retribution, and taunt to Sith Trooper. So that's an extra synergy that we have out there. Plus, because we have four Sith in here, Dark Bastila, she gains her basic, gives her offense based on the number of Sith which are in the team. She gets extra 10% critical chance for each active Sith ally. So that is that's something which is going to benefit her as well. So that's a team I'm planning to use on the second wall over here. The good thing is actually this team doesn't even need that much potency because this guy Candrass, he inflicts tenacity down on his basic. So the dots are going to end up landing in any case, and the debuffs are going to land in any case. So it's a pretty I think it's a pretty cool synergy, and I'm going to see how this team performs. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on defense. So that's my first section at the top. Now at the bottom over here, I'm going to go with, so this is going to be my third team. Now, this is an interesting team. So usually I keep my bounty hunters separate and my scoundrels separate, but there is actually a ton of synergy that is there between bounty hunters and scoundrels, and I put together this team just to make use of some of that synergy, and I'll talk briefly about what that synergy is. You've got Bosk lead, so both Boba and Bosk are going to be contributing to the bounty hunter payout, as well as uh, regenerating health and protection every time that a debuff is inflicted. Now, all these other characters, everyone actually inflicts debuffs, either on their basic or on their specials. So they're going to be helping Bosk and Boba regenerate protection and health. You've got two taunts on this team. You've got L3, who is an auto taunter, and then I've got a Bosk, a 300 speed Bosk, who's going to end up taunting pretty soon as well. And he's double Zeta, so that means that taunt is going to stay on there for a long time. And you have three scoundrels over here: Vando, Chewie, L3, and YOLO, and each of them have got synergy, some form of scoundrel synergy, not just light side scoundrel, but some form of overall scoundrel synergy, which would help Bosk and Boba. So let's explore that. First is Vandor. Now he's got a unique um, which reduces the enemy damage when he's buffed, and he's going to be buffed pretty often. But the second unique is basically what happens is all scoundrel allies recover protection equal to 10% of or 5% of Vandor's max health every time if he's buffed. So that's another way in which both Boba and Boss can recover protection. And obviously L3 and YOLO are going to be recovering protection as well. Now, Vando will not be able to revive Boba or Bosk just because they are dark side scoundrels, and he only revives light side scoundrels. But I don't really anticipate these guys going out that easily. Boba has got his execute, and he has got bounty hunter resolve, so he's got a second life essentially. Bosk is really tanky, and people try to control him and rather not take them out initially. So I'm not really bothered about these two characters dying early. Most probably Vander is the one who's going to be targeted, and you've got two really strong taunts over here to hide Vandor from getting targeted. Now let's see what synergy L3 has with Scoundrels. Now her unique, um, every time another droid or scoundrel ally takes damage, L3 is going to gain turn meter, and Bosk is going to be taunting a lot of times. So Bosk is probably going to end up getting damaged, or if people feel that Boba is a threat and they try to take him out, he's going to end up getting damaged, and L3 is going to end up uh, uh, getting turn meter and then taunting. And every time that she's hit, she will dispel debuffs from a random debuff scoundrel ally, not light size scoundrel, but any scoundrel. So even Bosk and Boba will get cleansed with L3. So that's a great synergy that she has with scoundrels. And finally, I've got a Zeta YOLO as well, Young Han Solo, and I've got his unique Zeta as well, which what it does is anytime a scoundrel ally attacks, this guy is going to assist if he's prepared. So it's pretty easy for him to get prepared. He just has to hit someone with his basic who's got lower than 50% turn meter, I believe. Yep, he gets prepared if its target was below 50% turn meter. And as long as he's prepared, anytime that Boba or Boss goes, he's going to end up assisting. And Bosk actually ends up going quite a lot because once he taunts, he gets frenzy. That means anytime any of these other characters use a special, Bosk is going to end up going again, and that means YOLO has another chance to assist. So just plenty of assist opportunities in this team with YOLO. So that's the synergy that this particular set of scoundrels and bounty hunters have. It's the first time I'm trying this specific team out, so I'll have to see how it holds on defense, and then decide whether I want to use it again or not. But I feel this is a quite a strong team to set on defense. All right, so let me see my fourth and final team on final experimental team that I want to try. Now, this is a Rex Wampa Talzin team. We call it the Mother Wampa team, and this is something that I've been running for a long time. I was one of the first people to unlock Wampa. I unlocked him within the first week of him coming out, and one of the teams that I really liked to run was this Rex Wampa team. I noticed that both these guys have got a lot of synergy together, and I decided to add in Talzin over here in this team just because of the extra plague synergy. Now, Wampa has got daze and healing immunity, and you've got Talzin who's got plague. And if the enemy is inflicted with plague, then the debuffs can't be uh, taken out. So they can't be cleansed. So that's a good synergy um, that Talzin as well as Wampa have. And this team has got two autotaunters, not one, but two autotaunters, both Shore as well as Zombie. Now, Shore acts as a healer, which is great, and gives out crit immunity, which is a little bit counterintuitive to Rex's lead, but it seems to work out in this team. And you've got Zombie, who again is an autotaunter. Great synergy with Talzin. You would effectively need to kill Talzin three times in this team just because Zombie is present out here. Plus, Zombie also inflicts tenacity down on basic, and these guys, especially Wampa, applies dots, healing immunity, days, and Talzin applies plague. So tenacity down is always good to inflict debuffs in all those situations. So you've got really good synergy in this team as well. Rex, Talzin, Wampa, obviously very good synergy. Plus two really tough tanks to allow Wampa to build up and to allow Talzin to spread plague. Now, this team is really difficult to target because you either want to target to take out Talzin first or take out Wampa first because both these guys are really dangerous and you don't want them to hang around too long. Talzin essentially means that you have to take her out three times, and my Talzin is pretty beefy, 46k protection, 25k health, and pretty fast as well. And my zombie is pretty beefy as well. She's got most of, I think she's just missing one G12 plus piece, but 90k effective health and protection, and 219 speed. And she's going to be developing speed really, really fast as well. So, two pre taunters, two really irritating constant taunters, and you've got Rex, Wampa, and Talzin at the back creating havoc. Lot of turn meter generation in this team, lot of tenacity up, crit immunity. This team has got everything, and it's been a long while since I've run this team just because I like to use Talzin in my regular Night Sister team. But I just want to try this experiment out because this sort of team sometimes tends to catch opponents unexpected. All right, so I'm going to set this team over here as well. So my front two walls have got my four experimental teams, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So just to remind everyone, I'm running the Jedi Scoundrel Hybrid team at the top. I'm running my dot-based team at the top as well, and below I've got my bounty hunter scoundrel hybrid team, as well as my mother wampa team at the top out there. So these are the four team experimental teams that I want to run. And at the back, let me see. I think I have some standard teams that I've set. Yeah, I'm going to just set a Basti team on on defense. I usually keep this one on offense, but for this Grand Arena, what I'm doing is usually the kind of teams that I'm keeping on defense, I want to keep on offense, and just because I never get to play them. So my Revan, I'm keeping on offense. Um, Let me show you. Yeah, so my Revan, I plan to keep on offense. Usually I keep that on defense. My crew, I always keep on defense. I want to keep it on offense this time just to generate a little extra protection and health. Kira, I always keep on defense as well. But today I want to, just um, enjoy playing Kira Nest on offense. And Night Sisters, I sometimes keep it on defense, but I don't mind having it on offense this time. Extra fresh flexibility. And Evox also usually I keep on defense, but this time I want to try it out on offense with C3PO. When I use Evox on defense, I usually set them with Evoc Elder, but if I'm using them on offense, I since I've got better control of it, I usually don't need Evoc Elder to revive, so it might be a good idea for me to try out C3PO with them to see how that team does. Usually, I use C3PO with the Resistance or Rebels, but Evox get all the bonuses that C3PO gives out to all three factions: Resistance, Rebels, and Galactic Republic. So I want to see how this team does on offense as well. So that's what I'm planning to do on offense. But now let me just finish keeping the rest of my defense. This is going to be a standard Jedi team, a couple of tanks, Basti lead, so it's going to be durable, and it's got a couple of damage dealers as well. So I'm sort of going to set this at the back over here, and I'm going to set a cheesy rebel team as well, which is it's got a reviver, a cleanser, a taunt. Pretty easy to take out, but I don't want to waste. I want to keep at least something on offense. Um, the speed boost from Akbar is always good. Uh, my Leia is pretty fast and Chopper as well, so that should get them going pretty early. And the other team that I want to set below is a standard JTR team. Now, JTR is usually something that I keep on offense as well, just because of the flexibility. But since I'm keeping my crew, Revan, and a few other teams on offense, I decided to keep JTR on defense. I want to try out a few other teams on offense. So that's my defensive setup. Um, that is going to be it for this video today. Tomorrow I will make another video of me clearing the enemy team using the offensive teams that I briefly showed a little earlier. So that's about it for now. Hope you found this video useful. I will catch you guys later.